It was April 1st, 1988, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, a quiet, overcast Friday afternoon. The kind of spring day where the air still carries a chill from winter, and kids in the neighborhood are just starting to play outside again. 8-year-old April Marie Tinsley was one of them. She was a bright, sweet little girl with big blue eyes, curly blonde hair, and a smile that could light up a room. She was friendly, kind-hearted, and known for being just a little shy. That day, school had just let out for spring break, and April was happy to be free for a week. She went over to her friend's house in her South Clinton Street neighborhood to play. The girls spent the afternoon together, giggling, playing with dolls, and talking about their plans for the weekend. Around 3 p.m., April decided to head home to grab her umbrella. The weather looked like it might rain, and her friend's mom reminded her not to stay out too long. April said she'd be right back. It was only a few blocks away. But she never made it home. When her mother, Janet, realized April hadn't returned, she started to worry immediately. This wasn't like her daughter. April always checked in, always followed rules. Janet began calling neighbors, then walked the streets herself, calling her daughter's name. Neighbors joined in. They looked in yards, alleys, empty lots. Within hours, the small Fort Wayne community was searching everywhere. By nightfall, police were involved. April's disappearance made the evening news, and soon hundreds of volunteers joined the search. Posters went up with her picture, an adorable blonde-haired girl with a pink ribbon in her hair and a smile that was now hauntingly absent. For 3 days, the search went on with growing desperation. Her family clung to hope that she'd simply wandered off or been taken by someone who would bring her back. But that hope was shattered on April 4th, Easter Monday. A jogger running along a desolate road about 20 miles north of Fort Wayne noticed something strange in a ditch, something pale against the dark soil. When he got closer, his heart sank. It was the body of a young girl. It was April. She had been sexually assaulted, strangled, and dumped in the ditch. Her clothes were partially removed, and her tiny body showed signs of having been out there for days. The discovery hit Fort Wayne like a thunderclap. What had once been a community filled with hope was now drenched in grief and fear. Who could have done something so monstrous? Police descended on the crime scene, combing every inch for evidence. They collected fibers, footprints, and most importantly, DNA from the body. This was 1988. DNA technology was new, still in its infancy, but they knew even then it could someday lead to answers. They also found what appeared to be a faint, partial message written in marker on a barn near where April was found. It read, "I kill 8-year-old April Marie Tinsley. Did you find her other shoe? Haha. I will kill again." It was signed with the initials I am. The chilling message made national headlines. It was as if the killer was taunting the police, mocking them. The barn became a grim landmark of the case, a reminder that somewhere out there, a predator was watching. Detectives went through hundreds of leads. They interviewed known sex offenders, truck drivers, anyone who might have been in the area that day. But every lead turned to nothing. The case quickly became cold. For years, there were no answers. April's family tried to move forward, but her mother never stopped pushing for justice. The community mourned, but also lived in quiet fear, knowing that whoever had done it was still out there. Then, in 1990, something happened that reignited the terror. Just before Easter, police received a note, crudely written on lined notebook paper. It said, "Hi honey. I've been watching you. I am the same person that kidnapped and killed April Tinsley. You are my next victim." The handwriting was messy, childlike, full of spelling errors, but the message was unmistakable. It was signed "Your secret friend." Along with the note was a used condom, placed inside a clear plastic bag. DNA tests confirmed it matched the same man who had killed April. He was back. That same year, more notes were found, some tucked inside mailboxes, others scribbled on the sides of barns. In one, the writer said he was watching children walk to school. Another read, "I will kill again if you don't catch me." Each note was signed differently, Catch me if you can, your secret friend, I am. It was like the killer wanted to be known, to terrify, but not enough to be caught. For years, the notes stopped and started again, almost like the killer couldn't resist bragging. Then came the 2000s. By now, the case was legendary in Indiana true crime circles. Every detective who came through the department knew April's name. Her photo hung on the wall, a constant reminder of unfinished justice. Technology had advanced, and investigators began using more sophisticated DNA analysis, hoping the killer's genetic material would finally match someone in a criminal database. But nothing ever did. Then in 2004, 16 years after April's murder, something strange happened again. Several young girls in Fort Wayne found disturbing notes left in their mailboxes and on their bikes. Each was written in the same crude handwriting as before. One was stuffed inside a plastic bag with used condoms and Polaroid photos of a man's genitals. The message read, "Hi honey. I've been watching you. I am the same person that kidnapped and killed April Tinsley. You are my next victim." The police realized immediately it was the same man. The DNA confirmed it. After all these years, he was still out there, still taunting, still dangerous. The community was terrified all over again. For detectives, this case was personal. They'd followed hundreds of tips, chased down false leads, and pored over endless case files. But the man always seemed to slip through their fingers. By 2016, technology had evolved even further. Genealogical DNA testing, using family ancestry databases, had started helping police crack cases once thought unsolvable. In 2018, that same technique was used to capture the Golden State Killer in California. Seeing that success, Fort Wayne investigators decided to try it on April's case. They sent the DNA sample from the condoms to Parabon Nanolabs, a company specializing in genetic genealogy. A few weeks later, they got a hit, not a direct one, but a family link. The suspect's relatives had unknowingly uploaded their DNA to a public genealogy site. Through painstaking research, analysts built a family tree that led police to one man living quietly in a small trailer park in Grable, Indiana. His name was John D. Miller. Miller was 59 years old, single, living alone in a mobile home surrounded by junk cars. Neighbors said he mostly kept to himself, though some described him as strange or creepy. When police began watching him, they noticed he still drove around the same areas where April had disappeared. They collected trash from his bins, snack wrappers, used napkins, soda cans, and tested them for DNA. It was a match. On July 15, 2018, 30 years after April's murder, police surrounded Miller's trailer and knocked on the door. When he answered, they told him they were investigating the death of April Tinsley. Miller's response was chillingly calm. He said, "I knew you were coming." Inside the interrogation room, Miller confessed almost immediately. His voice was flat, emotionless, like he was describing someone else's life. He said that on April 1, 1988, he had seen April walking home alone. He pulled over, offered her a ride, and she got in. He drove her to his trailer, assaulted her, and when she cried and begged to go home, he panicked. He strangled her. Afterward, he dumped her body in a ditch near Spencerville Road. He said he left the notes and the condoms years later because he wanted to feel powerful again. In 2019, Miller pleaded guilty to murder and child molestation. He was sentenced to 80 years in prison. When the judge read his sentence, April's mother, Janet, wept. After 30 years of nightmares, unanswered questions, and endless pain, she finally had justice. But she also had to face the cruel truth that her daughter's killer had lived freely among them all that time, hiding in plain sight. The case became a landmark example of how technology could finally bring closure to cold cases. It also stood as one of the most chilling examples of a predator who refused to let go of his crimes, taunting, threatening, and reliving his evil again and again. Even now, people in Fort Wayne talk about April. Her grave is covered with flowers and small toys, left by people who never even met her. Her name has become a symbol of hope, of justice delayed but not denied. The April Tinsley case reminds us of something deeply unsettling, the idea that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes, they're quiet men living in small towns, smiling politely at neighbors, hiding the darkest secrets imaginable. And that may be the scariest part. Isn't that it took 30 years to find him? The scariest part is how easily he could have gone unseen forever.